In today's video, we're going to discuss the role of the lead leg on the downswing and into impact to help you create a better contact and some more speed. Make sure you check out this video. Jon Watts here from the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me out on the golf course, and as I mentioned there in the intro, today's video is all going to be about the lead leg on the downswing in into impact. So we're going to talk about shifting the pressure correctly with the hip movement or the leg movement at the start of the downswing, and then how the leg should actually create a consistent post, almost like a wall, to hit against to improve your quality of contact and ultimately your speed. If you're new to my channel and you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. If you hit the little bell icon, it just notifies you every time a new video goes live. And the info for my social media just coming along the bottom of the screen here. So this is relevant with any golf club. I'm going to demonstrate this with an iron, but this is relevant whether we're talking about an iron or a driver. It doesn't matter. And as a drill, what I'm going to simply do is just use a tour stick in the ground. If you can get it quite low down, depending on how firm the ground is, that would be great. You just don't want it to sit much higher than your lead hip. And I'm just going to put something a little bit more visual over the top of it. So just a pool noodle, pipe insulation, pipe lagging, anything along those lines, just sitting near my lead leg here. Now, what we're looking for to start the downswing is we do want a little bit of a bump. Okay, so I do want my hips moving a little bit laterally towards the target. I've just got to make sure I don't go so lateral that the lead knee pushes out on the hip past the outside edge of my lead foot. So I don't want to start to see an excessive movement here that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on me. And whenever I see someone slide that much, because they know they're going to bury the club, what they tend to do is either lift up and lean back or scoop at impact, so throw away that angle. So we want a little bit of a bump to shift the pressure into my lead side when we're starting the downswing. So in the transition movement from top of the backswing to start the downswing, there is a little bit of a lateral bump here, and I quite often refer to it as centering the hips because my trail hip is high and behind me. What's happening is my trail hip moves back to its original position, down and forwards, and you can see that centers my hips, levels my hips, gets them between my feet here. So there is that shift of pressure laterally towards the target, and then halfway down into impact, what I really want to see is a turn or a pivot or a rotation. So I really want to see and feel that lead hip going behind me. So the first movement is a bump, and then it's going to be a turn, okay, to get that lead side out of the way. And now as that turning movement happens, my lead leg will straighten, will extend, and that is that post I'm talking about. You want to almost imagine there's that wall up that lead side. We're hitting against that wall into impact. We're not knocking it down, and of course we are not leaning back miles away from it. So it's a movement we really want to see with all golf clubs. Doesn't matter what we're discussing. Would have helped if I got a couple of golf balls out my bag, wouldn't it? I'm just going to have a couple of practice swings at it. I'm going to start with my lead foot right up to the cane here that's coming up the ground, and you can see it's leaving about a 2-inch gap, 1.5-inch gap from my lead hip to the cane here. We could angle a little bit to get it a touch closer, but I want to try and get the feeling in the transition that I bump into that halfway down, and then actually as I rotate, I'm almost hitting that line with everything. My left knee, my left hip, and my abs here, torso all together into impact, that I'm not sliding laterally or of course tilting back away from the target. So it's that feeling of bump, turn, is that feeling I want to get. Now as my hip turns away, I may create a little gap, but you can see that's very different to creating a big space and gap between it. I could have chosen a better place. I'll just not be a wimp, and I'll hit it from an old divot. Right, so going to be about here. I'll make it a touch easier off a little tee, but I'm trying to get that sensation on the downswing, bump, turn, okay, into that lead side. I do not want to keep laterally sliding or of course move away from the target line. This is relevant with any golf club. I'm just going to demonstrate it with a mid iron into impact. Let's give it a whirl. So my lead side here feels extended, feels tall. I feel like I'm against this post here with my whole lead side, but into impact. I'm not tilting back away from the target, and you can see I didn't knock it down into impact. So great feeling, great sensation. Let's just give it a little move. I'm managing to play it just where my divots are from filming a couple other videos. Rule number 1 of filming that, isn't it really? Right, up that lead side. This is where I want to be. Just get that sensation, one more of what that left side is doing. So talked about the lead leg. I mean, you could focus on the hip, the knee. I guess it doesn't really matter. It is that whole lead side, lower body movement on the downswing we're discussing. So, ball turf strike. Got the sensation that I was moving a little bump laterally and then starting to rotate into that lead side. It's a great power source when we start to learn how to use our lower body correctly. If this video has helped, if you find it useful, hit the thumbs up, put some comments below, and as I said at the start, if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing.